Clark with Tyler Arcari, and we're here again for another episode of Feed the Birds from Excelsior Music Publishing. Today we're talking about sound out of silence, something that's really important to me in terms of how we start the sound as an ensemble. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just really haphazard. It's really rough, especially if you're playing a lyrical piece. Why would you want to have a rough start to the sound? And how you get out of that silence certainly says a lot about your musicianship.
I think one of the biggest aspects of getting the sound to start and stop when we want is knowing when, how, and who needs to breathe. I think it's important to realize that everyone needs to breathe at the same time. I think if we breathe together, we're going to end up playing together.
Breathe together, play together.
And so, for instance, string, orchestra pieces, percussion, ensemble, even when there's no wind players, everyone needs to breathe. And they also need to know when to breathe, and I think that's something that we can use in rehearsal to kind of, add a little bit of focus as well as improving the sound of our ensemble.
Well, I think it's important to realize that really, even if you're playing on an instrument, obviously choir people do this all the time because it's the human voice, but we're trying to emulate human voice in what we're trying to do. So breathing is, gives the music flow and things like that too. The other thing I try to teach students is where in your conducting do you actually start the sound, and where in your conducting do you stop the sound. So I actually have the students think of start and stop, and actually say that out loud so they get an understanding of where you want the sound to start, where you want to stop. The other thing is I get the students to think in terms of breathing together, setting the embouchure, and then playing. Breathe, set, play. So they're thinking in terms of 4 and 1. Breathe, set, play. So it's one fluid motion, but they're also setting their embouchures for wind players, or they're setting the bow for a string player in order to be ready to make that sound.
Also sets up their timing.
Absolutely. So they're doing that in a rhythmic breath that's in time with the music that's to come. So I think that's really important. Yeah. Again, breathe, set, play really helps you in terms of getting a rhythmic breath, playing in time, and the downbeat then will be right in time if you take that breath. Breathe, set, play on 4 and.
I also think if you focus on how we talk about the attack of the note, the word attack is harsh.
Attack,
yeah. So I know in choir we sometimes use the word onset. Onset has less of a connotation of harshness to it than attack. I think sometimes our ensembles, when they hear us say something like attack, if we're talking about a lyrical section where we want it to be a very soft entrance, we don't want an attack. So I think using different words in our everyday rehearsal will help kind of ingrain that in the students.
Absolutely. I hope that some of these things were helpful to you today in our episode of Feed the Birds, talking about all the things to get out of silence. And again, it's Larry Clark and Tyler Arcari with Excelsior Music Publishing.